Guys, guys, I'm feeling so many different types of ways right now. I don't even know where to start. I'm getting all like giddy. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. So let's start with the fact that I have a poppy here, and it's the cranberry fizz. It's pretty good. If you guys have been here for a while, I'm usually having an iced vanilla latte or a cherry limeade poppy or the strawberry. What's the strawberry one? You know what I'm talking about? That poppy, whatever. Really good. I got chicken nuggies in the air fryer. Chicken nuggets. I don't know why I'm saying that. I have chicken nuggets in the air fryer, so I'm probably going to have to take an intermission to eat those. And I have oh my god. I feel like, you know, when you don't have therapy one week because your therapist is busy, or 2 weeks, whatever, and then you come back and you're like, girl, I got a lot to tell you. And that's going to be me today because I actually haven't had her in 2 weeks and I have her at 2:30. But this is how I feel about the podcast because I've just been having so many thoughts. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath because we're going to get really deep today. And I think we need to take the deep breath before I talk and then we'll do one after. But let's like settle ourselves in. All right. Let's take a big deep breath in through our nose. And exhale through our mouths. Okay. We're going to start with the depressing thing. And honestly, if I were you, my past self probably would have skipped through this too. But my dog died. Yeah. So fun. Clearly, as you can see, I'm trying to, use some humor to cope. And I had to put her down yesterday. And it sucked. It was like, I felt like I was going through a whirlwind of emotions for about like a week and a half or 2 weeks. Because last week, before I went into the field for 3 nights, my parents, like before I came home, basically what happened was I came home for Christmas break. And then on like the last 2 days, her back leg stopped working well. And I was like, oh, this is like weird. So we would have to pick her up, but then she was able to walk around once we picked her up. But I just noticed her back leg kind of going out, but everything else was fine. She was on arthritis medication. Every once in a while she would have to we would help her up the stairs. It would be a little bit harder for her, but everything was fine. Then right after I left, my dad got her a cortisol shot. It did absolutely nothing. He paid $400 for it. Then literally 4 days later, both legs went out. And it's not just like, okay, she's handicapped, that's it. No, like she literally, her whole body started to shut down. Like my parents called me up. They were, I can't even explain the amount of things they were doing to help her. It was just a lot, like having to get her to the shower because then she couldn't squat down, so she was peeing and pooping on herself and like she couldn't do anything. And then my dad tried to get her like wheels so she can walk around. It just like nothing, it just kept getting worse. Then they called me up and it was right before I went to the field, like the night before, and they were like, you need to come home this weekend, like we don't think she's gonna last. And I graduate here in 2 weeks, so I was like, I literally was just freaking bawling, crying. Like there's like, I just like this has been something, I know everyone that has a pet can relate. Like this day is something that you never ever want to even imagine for yourself. That's why anytime I'd see someone talk about it or online, I would just skip through it. I wouldn't even want to say the words out loud that like my dog could die one day. And it was just like very surreal and sad. And then I was scared to go into the field because I had spent those few nights breaking down once I heard that news. Well, actually, no, sorry. When he gave me like a little bit of a warning, I was breaking down, and then he told me that before the field. And then I was like really down bad that night. So I woke up at 5 a.m., had to go, just keep on going with the day and sit in the freezing cold. The field sucked. I mean, yes, good memories. We know that. It always happens when you go to the field, but it literally was so cold. I still didn't have like full sensation back in my toes a few days after. Now I'm pretty good. I'm fine. But it was just a pretty intense field experience because of how cold it was. And I was doing nothing because I was only in leadership once. So it was like literally sitting around doing nothing in the cold. Couldn't feel your feet for like 8+ hours. So it kind of helped because I was like, all right, I don't have to, wait for a flight I have to like stay here and be occupied with people around me. And then once I got out, that's when it started setting in again, like, okay, now I'm going home. And then I cried on the takeoff. And what was crazy, this is crazy, guys. My friend went to a psychic, and the psychic, she didn't tell the psychic anything. The psychic said, is there like a fuzzy golden brown dog? And then Sophia kind of just like let her keep talking, and she was like, she's ready to go. So like hang out with her, take pictures with her, and, you know, say your goodbyes, and she's ready. I thought that was fucking crazy. And she texted me that as I was lifting off on the plane. And I'm like literally about to put my thing in airplane mode. I put it down, and then she texted me that, and I was like, oh. And then I put it in airplane mode. It's at 11:11. And I was like, oh. And I was like crying on the plane. First time for everything. Crying on the plane. Friggin' throat hurting. But I was glad she texted me that. It actually made me feel really good, even though I was crying. And then, you know, my friend picked me up. And then, like, the second I got into my house, it was just, like, her laying on the floor and me very, very emotionally just molding into her arms. And she couldn't even really bark anymore. She has, like, a very, very low bark now. Oh, she did have a very low bark. She couldn't move herself. Like, it was so sad. She couldn't even sit up with her two front paws anymore, even though the back legs weren't working. Then I spent those few days there. There was a freaking winter storm. There was literally a snowstorm, and Harley loves the snow. So it was crazy, though, because we had the vet scheduled for Monday, and then we could to put her down, and we couldn't do that because they were closed. So we got more days with her, but it was just really sad. We ended up getting pain medication for her to make her feel better, because she just looked like she was in so much pain. Her breathing was so off. And then, you know, we all slept in the living room, me and my parents, like, every night, and it was just like very, very depressing. And so I think actually putting her down felt a bit relieving, because I'm like, I can't watch her in this pain anymore. Like, that morning she was literally doing short breaths, and it was like just so awful to see, because it's like not your dog. Like, it's like not your dog anymore. It's like she's there, but she's not there. And it's just like sad, because you know their personality, you know, like how they are, what they react to, how they move around, and just like the fact that she can't do any of that. All she can do is move her head right now, and she's having short breaths. Like, her eyes started to go, like it was like her, I don't know what you call them, but basically the bottom of your eyes, and it was like halfway up her eyes. It was just so fucking sad watching her like that. And it happened so fast. And like, even the first day I saw her, she could use her front paws to just kind of like move them around a little bit. She couldn't by the end. So very depressing weekend. And luckily, I had days off for where I am right now at this base, because Virginia can't handle the snow, so they just keep putting off days, which is fine with me because I didn't miss shit. But it was depressing, sad, and the day we put her down, I actually went to put her down, which a lot of people I know say they don't because they think it's like too hard to do. I was like, I want to do that. I wanted to be there with her. And so me, my mom, and my dad went, very sad. I cuddled her, and then I made her a little shadow box. We painted her paw pink the day before, and we were like making little ornaments. So we did a lot of DIY projects with her, and I know if she could use those paws, she wouldn't have let us do it. Yeah, it was just sad, and I am glad I'm not home right now, because even just being home for right after we put her down, because I had a flight the same day, even just being home, I was already filling up my cup and then ready to dump it into the water bowl next to me. And I was like, oh, I can't be around this. And my dad even texted me today, like, it's just very hard when you have a dog or even a person, anybody in your life that you lose, and all the places that you're used to having them in, it becomes like almost like a graveyard of some sort, where you have to relearn this environment without them in it. And it's eerie and depressing. Something I took from that whole experience, and I've been taking it from all of the experiences ever since I started meditation a few years ago, when I started going to meditation class, when I started practicing it on my own. I didn't understand the power of your breath until actually understanding the power of your breath. And sometimes I think we look for an answer in a lot of scenarios. Like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And we forget to breathe. And even I just think about like my therapist and everyone, people that give me advice. I think about two moments. One was when I was going to advanced camp and I was scared about like, oh my God, if I'm in leadership and I don't do well, I'm nervous about it. And I was like, what do I do? And my friend was like giving me different breathing techniques to do. And something about, like, I knew she was probably going to send me different breathing techniques, but something about like not having an actual answer other than breathe is humbling for a second, because you're like, well, I mean, yeah, but what else do I do? But no, like, that's the answer. A lot of times you can't prevent things from happening, and not only just you can't prevent them, but if you want to grow, you sometimes know you have to go towards them. So when you're thinking like, what do I do if that does happen? What if I do have to make a decision on this, or whatever it is, you're like, what do? I don't understand. What am I going to do without this person? What am I going to do to move on? And realizing it's all in your breath is just a crazy, simple concept. It's crazy because you're like, that's it? What? You're telling me that's it? And it's like, yeah, no, that's literally it. It's breathe. Get your vagus nerve, calm your vagus nerve, allow your body to slow down so you can chill the fuck out. So, with my dog, I would be crying, thinking about the fact that we have to put her down in my bed all night. And I'm like, all I can do is breathe. That's literally all I can do. I can't prevent this. All I can do is calm myself down by breathing and telling myself things. That time when I was going to advanced camp, like, yeah, if you get put into leadership, you got to be the leader. So what are you going to do? You can't freak out. Breathe. And the other time I think of is when I'll always like either end therapy or I'll text my therapist, and one of the things she'll make a point of is like, okay, deep breaths. Like, all right, breathe. And that's like the first thing she'll hit on before she'll even tell me she doesn't tell me what to do, but like before she'll even help me. It's just deep breaths, like first breathe. And something that you forget that like, yeah, obviously I'm breathing. We're all breathing all the time, but actually focusing on your breath is so different. And I think the answer to what will I do when I have to go back home and my dog's not there, or what will I do when I have to go to that place and the last time I went there was with my ex, or whatever it is, the answer is breathe. You can't do anything else. To me, focusing on my breath has helped me with my emotional resilience a lot throughout these past years. And I think it's something so simple we just all kind of forget that's in our power and can help us a lot. It's kind of like when you're running and you just want to stop so badly, but you have a goal you need to reach, and you're like, just one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. To me, it's like breathing is so similar. One breath at a time. Just one breath at a time, and you're going to get through it. And I think that is a key to getting through really hard situations that you can't possibly fathom you being in. You know what? Let's breathe. Let's do one more breath. Let's do a breath mid-episode. I just trauma dumped about my dog and talked about breath, so we're going to breathe again. So let's inhale through our nose, and then on our exhale, we're going to exhale through our mouth, and we're going to make our exhale longer than our inhale. So inhale for 4 seconds through our nose. Exhale through our mouth for 6 seconds. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is being in your 20s or even in your 30s, wherever you guys are, whatever age you're at, is not having everything figured out. And maybe the anxiety that comes with feeling like, fuck, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do in my future? Am I going to still continue this career? This uncertainty of not having everything figured out and the anxiety of that uncertainty. There's something about I think it's something about my type B-ness. I don't know. I want to say it is a little bit of mix of my type B and my passions and my drive that mix together well to where I don't get scared a lot about that uncertainty of what I'm going to do with my life. What I mean by that is like my type B, not really a big planner. I don't get anxious if I don't have plans on something. If something is not like to a T correct. I don't really get anxious about it. And my passions are so heavy. Like, I am so passionate about my brand. I'm so passionate about this podcast. I'm so passionate about content creation, and I have been for literally so long. And I think the reason that helps me be so passionate behind these things is I have a why behind them. And that why is really, really important for the next thing I'm about to say to you guys. So the passion is like, okay, if I'm passionate about so many things, something's got to work out. Something's got to work out for me. And when I say like work out for me, I mean like something's got to take off for me to where I will be able to live by myself or with a partner or with my friend, financially stable and fulfilled with what I'm doing every day. And so for me, I feel like if I'm passionate about so many things, something's got to work out. That's the passion. And then the drive. I'm a very hard worker. Like, I'm very determined, and I'm very like, I'm going to do this no matter what people say, no matter what roadblocks I have. And having that drive where I'm very like determined to perfect something, or not even perfect something, but like determined to do something about the ideas that I have, I know is going to eventually get me to where I want to be. I don't also have an end destination in sight. I don't have long-term goals that are specific that determine whether or not I'll be happy if I'm fulfilled. Like, I'm not like, my brand has to make this much money by 2030, which is crazy. That's going to be a year one day, 2030. Wow. What are we at, 2026? Only 4 more years till it's 2030. Okay, sidetracked, my bad. Or, I don't have goals or I don't have just goals like that where they're so specific that I'm like, it's either that happens or I'm miserable, or like, if I don't make that, I'll be pissed off. Yes, I love having goals, but I don't even know where my life is going. I don't even know what I want. For example, like sometimes with my brand, I'll think, is my goal like an in-person store, or is it like a gym community? And I go in between of like what I actually want, or is my goal to podcast full time, or do I want to be a therapist? And I don't really know, but I know that something's just going to take me. And so for me, the uncertainty isn't so scary. But I do sometimes get like dialed into my future, and I'll start planning everything out. But it's nothing that like creates too much anxiety in me, because I know where I'll be in 5 years. The me right now is not going to recognize it. I'm just simply going to be like, who's that girl? What is she doing? How did she get there? So I know that things will work out, but I guess that's also my optimism at play, is like, things are going to work out. I just know they are. And I think the reason why I know they are is because I'm authentic to myself. I'm doing the things I love, and I'm constantly pushing myself out of my comfort zone to achieve the things that I love doing. So now that I talked about that, this is going to be a great segue into this next little challenge, obstacle. I don't even know what you would call this. Mental challenge that I had the past, I want to say it was a week and a half ago. And I'm spilling all the tea right here. I love this podcast because I'm like such an open book that genuinely, like, it's just funny because once I say what I'm about to say, it's just so, just spilling the beans so easily that it's just giving people bait to be like, oh shit, she actually fucking talked about us. So here at Bullock, I've heard some rumors. I've heard some rumors about me being talked about by a company. Talked about pretty heavily, my brand, and not in a positive way. My brand, there's been funny stories that I've heard about copy and pasting my shirt on things, dissecting my podcast, which, hey haters, you guys are my biggest fans, because like, thank you for the engagement. But hearing it is a little bit like, okay, I prepared myself for this. I've put myself in a spot vulnerable to haters. Well, I'm saying haters, but whatever. I'm putting myself in a vulnerable spot by exposing myself to the internet, by talking about so many raw topics and vulnerable things, that I knew things like this would happen. And so I don't speak online thinking nobody's going to hear me, thinking like, I can hide some of my content from the people that I want to hide it from. I could block people. I don't think like that. Like, I am just straight, like, I'm putting myself out there, and I know I'm going to get backlash. I know I'm going to get people that want to, like, bully. I know I'm going to get people that always got something to say about me. And I knew it would happen. So now here I am presented with this scenario where it actually happened, and I'm hearing it firsthand from somebody in the company, which is funny that she sold everyone out. And for me, I'm like, okay, you've heard this information. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to internalize it? It was a learning moment for me. Like, how am I going to internalize knowing that a whole company is, or a whole, I don't know, I didn't get specifics. I mean, I got some specifics, but a good amount of people have gotten a hold of my content and are sending it around and, like, making fun of it. How am I going to internalize this? So at first, I think it hits you a little bit because you're like, oh, damn. You're like, okay, I don't know what to think about this. Like, this is weird. I think the first feeling you feel, for me, it was like, it's like the everybody's looking at you feeling. Like, that everybody's looking at you and knows something about you that you're unaware of. So when I meet someone for the first time, I may think like, oh, I'm meeting them for the first time. This is my first impression on them. But they've already made impressions based off my content. They already know me more than I know them. And that's just kind of how content creation is. So here's where the inner work starts. And I pull a few things from different people. We're going to start with Eminem. Eminem. Oh, his music is amazing. His songs are the perfect thing to embody, like, getting famous and how to deal with people who hate on your content or your music or whatever it is. The song The Way I Am by Eminem is a good one. There's a bunch. It's like Who Knew is a really good one. The Way I Am. And all those kind of embody the experience of, like, you want to tell me who I am, you want to say who I am, go ahead. Like, make your opinion on me and determine who I am. And that's okay. And then also Careful What You Wish For is a really good one, where it's like, if you want people to recognize you, you have to understand that there's going to be the other side of it where people are not going to like you at all. And I see it all over. Like, they will find celebrities that literally, like, oh my God, like, they're just being themselves. They're doing nothing weird, nothing wrong, and they find a way to cancel them. It's either they cancel them or they find a way to make fun of them. They find a way to hate on them. Everybody's going to find something. And it's just life. Like, that's what it's like when you're trying to get yourself out there on the internet. You're just going to encounter people like this. And before, I remember I mentioned sex for the first time on the podcast. I had mentioned on my last podcast with my friend, I'm going to show you, I could link it down below, Behind Closed Doors with Allie and Adri. That podcast, I was a little bit more comfortable talking about things because I was talking about them with my friend. But once I established my own podcast, I was like, all right, is this going to be something I talk about? Is this going to be something that I'm going to feel okay talking about, knowing that I may have a professional career that may affect this, and I'm going to have to defend myself and my content? So, like, do I want to do this? I know some people go the route where they try their best to hide themselves from people. They'll change their usernames, or they'll change who they interact with online so they don't get recognized by people, or they create fake TikTok accounts or do some alias name. Like, for me, I made a decision where I'm like, I want to talk about sex in this podcast. I think sex is really important. And this is where, when I was talking about before, the why comes in. This is why I'm okay with being made fun of or being the joke for the company, because my why is so important to me that I don't care what you have to say about it, because for me, it matters so much to me and the people that I'm impacting that I could give two shits less about what you guys are talking about. So sex is one that a lot of people just don't talk about online. It's considered taboo, especially for a woman to talk about it. I think a lot of women that talk about sex are looked at as like some promiscuous, like, sex figure, really sexual human being. They may call her a slut, a whore, whatever they want to say, because she talks about sex. I think Call Her Daddy is a good example of, like, somebody who just freaking went out there, did a how-to on Gluck 9000, how to do a blowjob, and then you could either think of her as, and slut shame her as like this person who's disgusting and gross talking about those things, or you're like, thanks for the video, now I know how to suck dick. So that's like the perfect example to me. And look where she is now, doing amazing. Alex Cooper, her career just keeps on taking off every time I go to check on her. I love her. And so that to me is like something where I need to be talking about it, because I feel that women don't talk about it enough. And I think it's a double standard that men talk about sex so openly, so freely, so objectively. And women, the second they talk about it, the heads turn. They're like, no way she's talking about this right now. But it's like men have talked about this their whole life and nobody's turning heads. Like, yeah, fuck that bitch. Yeah. Like, nobody's turning heads. But when we say something, anything, people are turning heads. Or even like the question of, yo, did she suck your dick? Is so common versus the question of like, so did he give you head? Well, the answer is common. The answer is, yes, she sucked my dick, and no, I did not give her head. So even just that is alone pisses me off enough for me to be like, yeah, we're gonna fucking talk about this, because y'all bitches better be getting head. Yeah, so I just went on a rant about sex. But sex is one of those really vulnerable topics that I talk about where it's raw. Nobody wants to like get out there and face the hate and the judgment that you get from especially adults in your life, or just people that have something to say about the things you're talking about when it comes to sex. But to me, it's like sex has created such a taboo, and like the talk about sex is so taboo that it's not talked about enough. And the more awareness we have about it, and the more we talk about it, people are going to not think of it as a shameful thing to do, not a guilty thing to do. Women's pleasure won't be considered a shameful thing that they don't want to experiment with. So to me, the sex topic that's my why. Then it comes to my brand, Muscle Mommy. I think when people hear Muscle Mommy first, they may think of like a person who's kind of cocky that just thinks they look strong as fuck. They're the strongest person in the room. But Muscle Mommy to me it goes so deep. I grew up hating my body. I grew up thinking I couldn't do things. I thought I couldn't run a marathon. I couldn't do things that other people could do because of who I was or because I was a girl. There was a bunch of different factors. And to me, that's where I decided, like, I want to spread a message for all girls to feel like they can accomplish what they want to accomplish, no matter what they look like, no matter what their body is, no matter how much they weigh, no matter what their body looks like. And understand that we can all be part of this community where we're empowering each other and not creating an environment where we think like you need to have this type of body to run, you need to have this type of body to do Pilates. I just want to create an environment where women empower each other to get out there, work out, or work on your mental health, or work on your mindset and accepting your body. And spreading that message to me is so important. So if you want to make fun of my brand, like, you could keep laughing. That's fine. Because when you see my clothes in stores, or when your daughter one day is like, can I get a Muscle Mommy workout set for Christmas, Daddy? You're like, oh, I know who that bitch is. She was the one that I used to make fun of. Oh my God, how fucking funny. And now I have to buy from her brand because my daughter won't stop asking about this, or your girlfriend, who fucking knows. But the point is like, keep on laughing. To me, it's like, it hits at first. You're like, oh shit. Like, everyone kind of like knows me and I don't even know that they know me. It's a little bit weird. It feels like everyone's looking at you. And then after that, you're kind of just like, yeah, keep on talking. Like, yeah, make fun of my videos. Like, I love it. Thank you. That's how you know you've made it. You know you've made it when you have haters. And I just love it. I love it. I also love that I know about it too. And they probably have no idea that I know. Now they do, because hopefully they're still stalking me and dissecting my podcast. Maybe I'll clip this for TikTok just for them. But yeah, I'm also graduating here soon. So hopefully, they get all they can of me as they see me before I leave, before I have my big send off. Okay, so yeah, anyways, so with that, I wanted to also talk about how in those moments where I feel so strong in my whys and why I do the things the way I do and the things I post, like everything I post has some deeper reason behind it. Even a thirst trap has a deeper reason behind it. And for me, should I go into the deeper reason now? I'll go into it quickly. Okay. my go from like both ends of the spectrum, sexy to extremely goofy. My extremely goofy self, I was always scared to show on social media, like me dancing to to like Slim Shady, like doing all those type of goofy things online. That I've always held back on, so I was scared what people would think of me. Then now I'm like literally have loosened the reins. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be the most craziest, goofiest, weirdest person online. So that's like that end of the spectrum. Feeling sexy and hot has something that I literally never felt my whole life, and it's been a struggle for me. And I think sometimes when I have trouble processing how someone can find me sexually attractive or someone can find me attractive at all, is I think what the reason why is because I look at my goofy side and I'm like, wait, how can someone also be attracted to someone that doesn't take themselves seriously? But that's not a true statement, because I do take myself seriously, but I think I'm looking at it through a perspective of like, oh, she's so silly and goofy that she doesn't take herself seriously. And then I'll take that belief and think like, how can somebody be attracted to me? How can someone find me sexy if I'm so silly and goofy? And you know what I'm trying to say by that? Like, I love how I say, you know what I'm trying to say by that, but like you guys can't respond to me. But I don't know. It's something where you spend time being funny on the internet, and then you're like, wait, maybe I should like also, but like, wait, I also like being sexy, but now I'm scared to show it because I've showed them so much of goofy side. So I haven't posted thirst traps in so long. And I think it's mainly because I haven't done any like transitions. Like usually a thirst trap is a transition for me, but I was like, no, fuck it. So to me, even posting me singing to lyrics, like feeling myself, that's also important to me, because I'm like, that's also pushing me into the uncomfortable zone of feeling sexy and hot online, or showing people that I actually think I look good. Like when I was younger, I would never ever post like a selfie of myself. One time I took a picture of myself where I thought for the first time, like, I look kind of hot, or like I look kind of, I don't even know if it was hot. It was just like I look kind of, you're trying to look hot in the photo. You weren't trying to look like smiley and cute. And a friend said something about it, like, oh my god, I can't believe she's trying to look hot. And I think even just her saying that, and then just my own brain, it was just like going almost like I'm gonna crawl back into my shell and be like, yeah, I don't know why I ever thought that I was hot. I don't know why I ever thought I was pretty. And so coming out of that shell the past few years of owning myself and like being like, yes, I am sexy, I am pretty, I am this, it's hard because I've never felt that way about myself, and I'm trying to push myself into that zone, but it's a struggle. And so for me, even when I'm posting things where I think I look really hot in it, can be hard. And I think sometimes to combat the embarrassment of possibly trying to come off hot, but I don't, I will then revert to being goofy instead. Yeah. Good realization there. And so I was walking around the other day, and I was like, you know what? I'm so happy I'm myself. Because I just found out a bunch of people were making fun of me, and I still feel really good about myself. It didn't change my opinion on myself. It actually made me feel better about myself, and makes me think about how I am so authentic. I love it. Like, I love just being able to be free in my personality and free online to post despite what people are saying about me. Even just in my hate comments. Like, people love to freaking light up my comments with shit. My recent TikTok, I posted me getting ready and unready for, what was it for? Oh, for the field. And like, because I'm a second lieutenant, that's like the first rank you get as an officer. There's a bunch of stigma or stereotypes, whatever, around lieutenants. And I understand it. It's like we're fresh meat and we're over here outranking people that have been here for 20 years. It makes total sense. But then there's also the other side of it of like, okay, yeah, but like this is how everybody starts out as an officer other than people who are prior service. So it's like, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about the fact that we have no experience? The only thing we could do is get more experience. So when people want to come at you for that kind of stuff, I mean, it depends. If you're like a cocky person and you're like, you know, you think you're above everyone, it's different. But like me, I don't think I'm above anybody. So coming from a more humble standpoint, if you want to come for lieutenants because they don't have any experience, like, okay, yeah, what am I going to say to that? Like, sorry that I wanted to become an officer? Like, you know what I mean? Just kind of, just a weird, just like one of those things where you can't really respond to people who want to hate on you because you're like, what am I going to do about my situation? Like, sorry I couldn't be born earlier. Sorry I couldn't have went into service before I did. Like, it's just kind of weird to me. So anyways, the point is I'm not going to allow that to stop me from posting. If people want to say my videos are cheesy and cringy, they want to comment, it's like, you are so insecure that you have to get onto someone else's Instagram or TikTok and leave hate comments and judge is so insecure of you. Like, it's a projection of yourself. And even the people that want to make fun of my content here, like here at Bullock, it's so funny because I'm like, you guys spend the time in your day, either use your breath to talk about me or type out messages to like bring somebody down, or it's just so fucking, it's so like, tell me that doesn't just say everything about them and nothing about you. So that's why I just keep creating, and it's great. I also just wanted to bring this up for everyone, even if you don't create content, where there's just so many experiences in life where you're put on in the spotlight or just in a scenario where it opens you up to people judging you, and how you internalize that judgment and how you carry forward knowing that people are going to judge you is important. Because if you carry on in the other direction where you feel, oh, I can't act that way because people are going to say this, then you're never going to do the things you want to do because you're always going to be living for the perception of other people. So just do what you want to do if it makes you happy. Now, this goes a little bit more off topic, but I was having this thought on the plane, and it's been a year since me and my ex broke up. And it's interesting because sometimes I'm like, I wonder how healed I am from this. I do a lot of observing of my own thoughts. And so if I'm ever reminiscing about or ruminating in thoughts about this person or like scenarios, I'll ask myself like, why am I ruminating? Or just kind of like almost analyzing it a little bit. Do I feel anything by ruminating this? Am I still mad about it? Am I still angry about it? And a year sounds like a long time, and it just really isn't. Once you get to the year mark, you're like, you almost feel a little stupid for even feeling anything after a year. But I think the truth is a lot of people can relate to. No, like if you go through a breakup a year later, you still kind of feel like they're not that far away. You're not that far away from the breakup, it kind of feels like. And I've healed a lot, but I think not having experienced anyone in a year has been tough because you don't have much else to think about when it comes to men or boyfriends or girlfriends. You just don't, like, for example, sex. I haven't had sex with anybody in a year. So for me, it's like, if I want to think about sex, I don't have many experiences to go off of. And also, I'm not going to reminisce about me and my ex. So if I can't reminisce about my past sexual experiences, then you're like, oh my God, I'm at a fucking standstill. It's like that feeling when you haven't had a crush in a long time and you're like, oh my God, I have nobody to think about, like nobody to like just daydream about. That's how it kind of feels. And so sometimes I'm just like, can I just experience someone or something? So like when I think about a relationship with a guy or sex or anything, I don't have to go back. Like, not even that I purposely go back, but like my brain doesn't have to only recall that experience. It can recall other things. But yeah, that's like pretty difficult, I think, a year out of a breakup. And so as I was saying, is I was trying to figure out like, where am I a year out? It's been a year. How am I feeling? And I think the thing that's left in me is anger and frustration that I was in the relationship for as long as I was. But it was 9 months. So for me, I'll go back and I'll be like, why did I stay after he told me, like, he did this, like, he wasn't giving me what I needed. Why was I staying? Like, I just don't understand it. And I'll go back and I'll just get kind of mad at myself that I stayed. I'll get mad at myself that I was desperate, where I was sitting there hoping things would change or hoping that like our relationship would get better. And with that, I feel like it's so important to give yourself compassion. And I feel like it's something that you need to practice, is giving yourself compassion on the things that you went through, because at the end of the day, you did the best with what you could. And I feel like that's the thing I need to keep telling myself, even in a past friendship, that sometimes I get mad about myself and like why my other friends got the brunt end of the stick because I felt controlled by this other person, and then how I just felt like I couldn't pull away from this person. It's kind of just like a classic, like when you're in an abusive relationship or a manipulated relationship, you start not wanting to deal with the person that you're in the relationship with, their responses to things, so you just say no to other people so you can be with that person, so you don't have to hear it from them. And through that, you're hurting other people and you're hurting yourself. And so when I go back to that, I feel like the hardest thing is practicing compassion with yourself, and by doing that, it allows you to move past these things. And I think my past relationship is one of them. I still think every once in a while I need to find compassion for myself, that like, you're doing the best with what you could. It was also your first relationship, like whatever it is, like I have to just tell myself those things so I don't get mad at myself. Yeah. Okay. So kind of an abrupt ending, but I hope you guys took something from this podcast. I really enjoyed talking to you guys today. I'm actually not sorry for not releasing the past 2 episodes. My freaking dog died, so what am I going to do about it? And thank you guys for listening. If you want to go shop Muscle Mommy, it's musclemommy.store.com. My social media is at the Muscle Mommy Mindset, Miss_Swole Shady, and the Muscle Mommy brand. Thank you guys for listening and watching if you guys are watching. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the day. Bye, Muscle Mommies and Muscle Daddies.